Our ability to make and receive phone calls is what I would term a baseline expectation. So we may not think about it much, but one comment that today's guest made to me when I first met her struck me as profound. She said, "Never overlook the cost of the phone not ringing." There's so many great layers to explore in that one statement, so let's do that. Please welcome Larissa Horton, VP and GM for WebEx Calling and Online. Welcome, Larissa.
Hi, Rob.
So good to have you with us. So, question for you. Calling often gets overlooked. What is the importance of calling in today's technology explosion? Is it still important?
It is still so important. And I come across examples every single day that remind me of that. Whether it is a hospital who has a helicopter coming in with a patient that needs to call the doctors in the building, and that phone call cannot have any delays, any question around quality. Or it is a small business who honestly is living and breathing by the basic phone calls that come into their store, whether it's for what hours are open, whether they have a certain product. It is still definitely a way they engage with a large part of their customer base. Not everything is on Instagram or through Facebook or this
I've
new
heard.
social media. There's still a lot of consumers who want to engage over that quick phone call. And then last but not least, especially for me as a mom, there's all of those unexpected phone calls we have to make. Like, I can't send my kid to school because they have a runny nose. Now we need a COVID test and things like that. Again, all unplanned, all need to be handled right away. And so that phone call and that ring and being able to call someone the moment you need them, still so critical to everyday life for many people.
Yeah, I feel like when I don't notice these things until they're gone. I don't fully appreciate these things sometimes. But I live in a rarefied world where I get to play with tools and speak over WebEx on a regular basis in ways that are different. But calling specifically has been revolutionized, and I want you to correct me if I have this wrong, but it really has changed a lot when it comes to cloud calling. And Cisco has not been shy about being in this business and really driving services and creativity that I feel like also have some realities associated with them because some businesses have trouble making that jump to cloud calling. Is Cisco, is that true? And what is Cisco doing to kind of make that easier?
Yeah, I think many workloads have been on this transformation to the cloud. And the one of the few that have been taking a little bit longer is calling. And it is because we are so dependent on that to run our organization. Imagine a bank running without phones at every till and every consultant. Like, it's just impossible. So I think customers have been hesitant to move. But now there are so many advantages to cloud calling. All of the real time analytics, the ease of being able to start a new phone line and really not have to wait, even on your IT administrator or folks who are telephony experts just to get that done. So it's really bringing that line of business into more control around what they need for communication. So I think those are the huge advantages. And now that the maturity of definitely the Cisco calling cloud is there, WebEx calling is really transforming the way people think about how they run telephony in their organization and how they're able to do this in a way that doesn't impact their business right now. It's not one of those things where you can just change it all overnight, right? Especially
Yeah.
for companies that are available around the world. I tell my team all the time, calling is still that one way you can connect with any person in the world. There are places where you still can't use consumer products like FaceTime or WhatsApp just due to regulation. Calling has been regulated around the entire world. You can pick up the phone and you can call literally anyone, and that's what businesses definitely rely on, especially in places where there is poor infrastructure and really not able to use some of these other means that, as you mentioned, we are so fortunate to be able to use.
Yeah, we expect the phone to ring. And I remember this may be dating me a bit, but because I don't think people speak of dial tone much anymore. But to me, it was always about could you get a dial tone? And that was a signal that things were okay. And even our early IP telephony type stuff always had dial tone at least manufactured because people made people feel better. Just like you get certain signals that are in our brain for busy signal and stuff like this, that makes sense to a lot of people. So Cisco's making this migration to cloud easier, as well as, of course, driving features in the cloud. Maybe not without getting not to get too technical or anything, but what kind of things would you cite that Cisco is doing differently? Why can we count on Cisco being the right company to really move this forward for everyone?
I think one of the really unique things that we offer is that we are moving you to the cloud at a pace that you can handle. So it is not all or nothing. We have many countries like India and China where regulation actually requires that they stay on prem for a little bit longer. It'll just be more difficult to move to the cloud. And you can do that with us. You can have certain countries in the cloud, certain countries stay on prem. You're able to have a range of flexibility that is very difficult with other providers. And so instead, you'd have to manage two different phone systems. In our case, you can manage one, you can have centralized analytics. And not just that, one of our huge differentiators is our hardware, our actual telephones that most people don't realize actually is such a critical part of that calling deployment. Is making sure that not just your mobile phone with the app is working, but all of the phones on all desks in any office you work in this hybrid world also works. So we've done a really great job across hardware and software, and most of their vendors only do one or the other. So the
Right.
level of analytics, the level of end user understanding of the kind of experience they have is just much better with Cisco.
Well, one thing I love about the Cisco devices is they were designed for, and I don't know, I hope this is not incorrect, but the enterprise in mind or a large organization. Because when it comes to my first reaction, Cisco's doing headsets and adding cameras and things and very high quality products. But I'm like, I don't see myself buying that. But I'm not really the target. The target, it feels like, are people who need to manage those things and bring them and make them easier to work with in large quantities, because that's not a small task. And so that to me also serves as an example from the hardware perspective of where Cisco makes things easier.
Yeah, last year it was not unheard of for someone to go and buy a bunch of consumer headsets for their organization because everyone went home and needed to work. And then what
Right.
happened was, wait, there's a security patch and there is an update, a firmware update that is needed. And they had to go and call the employees to say, can you please do this update? Because otherwise there's a potential security issue in our company. Well, with our headsets, you can actually centrally manage all of those and patch all of them from one place. It is a huge advantage where you get a consumer like experience with the latest headsets and cameras, but you get the security and the compliance that you need as an enterprise. We talk about this as fleet management. It's the whole fleet of devices and accessories that you need as an organization, while making it super easy for that end user to really use a device, whether it's for music, a phone call, a meeting, it all works.
Once again, you gave me a term that I wasn't using before, and I'm like, fleet management. That's it. That's the word I was kind of thinking of that kind of does bring it all together, encapsulate it. Well, let's end with this. I've been impressed. I've had some advanced look what we're doing in terms of making it easier to provision local loops and manage just all the different relationships that kind of thing requires. In fact, do you hold up? I mean, we classically think of phones only coming from big carriers and things like this, but Cisco's a is a well-known brand from a networking space, but that obviously translates to the phone space as well for customers. Yes.
Yes, definitely. One of the hardest things for me to learn when I first took over calling is this is not just a software problem. This is a networking problem. It is really, when I look at why Cisco has done so well, it is in our DNA. We are a networking company. And so a lot of the amazing innovation and technology that has come out of Cisco in the telephony space is leveraging that muscle. Also, the ways that we connect to all the other service providers in the world and really ensure this high quality experience that has been honestly unmatched for many years, which is why we have over 50% market share in comparison to most others that have single digit market share. So we're really excited to leverage the rest of the Cisco muscle in this overall cloud offering.
Excellent. Well, just to make sure I didn't miss anything, what's most important to remember here? What do you want people to focus on coming out of this conversation?
I think the most important thing is we have this amazing WebEx calling cloud offering. I think many people weren't really aware that we have this really strong offering in the cloud. And it is made for absolutely everyone, whether it is a small business, a single person who just wants to buy one phone line by themselves on webex.com, all the way into these large enterprise that are multinational and quite complex. We are supporting customers with, over 200,000 lines. So we really have this experience that is untouched when you look across the industry. And we're really excited to take all of those learnings into the cloud.
Well, that's excellent. Larissa, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.